Welcome to Audacity Works, a podcast inspired by and dedicated to the working artist, the creative entrepreneur, and generally, doing the damn thing. This exists on the premise that the world belongs to those who have the audacity to believe that their lives have value. This is for you. Welcome to Audacity Works. I am your host, Rachel Strickland, and this is episode number 190, and it is about all of the admin. But first, some housekeeping for you. Y'all, the Muse has been musing so hard. I can barely keep up with her. And when I say the Muse, I don't just mean artwork, because I rely on inspiration to direct what I do in my coaching work as well. And as you know, I have stopped running the Audacity project in the same way that I ran it before, which was with me at the helm, and it's going to eventually be a DIY project. And everyone's been asking me, what comes next? What comes next? Oh my God, I have been waiting for the same answer, y'all. And it is starting to become clear. Right off the bat, I do have like 2 new things to offer you. I think I mentioned the first one last week, which is 7 Deadly Satisfactions. That's going to be dirt cheap, and it's coming out in August. 7 Deadly Sins. We're going to dismantle patriarchal purity culture by using its own tools against it. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. As an outcome of this, because we're like, what's the outcome? Well, hopefully, by the end, you'll have a lot better idea of what you actually want. If this sounds similar to the 5 Days to Desire course, you would be right. I just had a lot more to say about it. So that's coming up in August, but even sooner than that, I have to tell you something that I discovered. So I've been mentoring artists closely since 2017. Over 400 artists that I have personally mentored through the creative process and through, building their professional development. And imposter syndrome has come up so much, and other gremlins have come up so much. And of all the ways that I've ever found to use as an antidote against those states, I finally cracked it. I did. I fucking cracked it. And I'm going to share it with you. I'm calling it Somatic Witchcraft, and I've decided to hold a workshop. It's going to be short. It's not hard. It's simple, right? I'm going to hold a workshop on July 8th because I wanted to get this done before I went to Ireland for the IADF. It's going to be hella cheap, $20. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. If you have any questions, which I'm sure you do because I'm too excited right now, so I'm not probably giving you enough information, but there's materials in the show notes. Oh yeah. I honestly cannot believe it took me 9 years and 400 plus artists to arrive at this. I can't wait to. I just can't wait. I'm so excited. But I digress. Today we have a request from most excellent Julie Kent, who has asked me to talk about how to manage the hellish amount of admin that seems to exist as a working artist in a way that doesn't make you feel like you have a constant sense of something more to do. Amen, Julie. Let's talk about it, because Julie is completely correct. There is so much admin. And so Julie comes from a culture in which one applies for and sometimes gets funding. I don't really know what the aspect ratio is from how many applications you write to how many are generally successful. But I do know how much work it is to write one application. And we have that here in the United States as well, just like not very much. But so there is that sort of like environment in which to create art and to be a working artist. But even if you're not in a geographic location that has a well-funded arts council and supports the arts, it's still just a shit ton of work. There's just so much to do. I'm guessing I don't have to explain that to y'all. So I won't. I'll just skip right to the good stuff. How about that? I do be having some tools for you. I'll give you the one that I think is most effective first, and then I'll give you some other little helpful tips and tricks that can be useful. But by far the most impactful change that I think I can help you arrive at when it comes to the hellish amount of admin that being a working artist takes is to understand that inbox zero is a fallacy. Okay. Now, my friend Julie is not allergic to work. Julie is very familiar with hard work. And notice, she didn't say anything about how hard it was. She said something about this constant sense of something more to do, just sort of like following around you and leaning over your shoulder and breathing down your neck. It's not the fact that it's even so much work, it's that you never feel like you're done and that's the problem. And I agree, that is the problem. However, it is a problem that can be negotiated with a shift in perspective. The administrative tasks of art making, they aren't the same as the administrative tasks of other jobs. Now, I've not had all other jobs, so I don't really know, but I have had a desk job or two. And whenever I was done, or actually whenever it turned 5 o'clock, I'd be like, and no more of that, and I'd move on with my life. It didn't matter to me that there was work undone because I knew I was going to come back again tomorrow. But when you're a working artist and your whole career depends on you being able to do this work well, it doesn't feel like you can stop until it's done. And it's not going to be done. I am loath to tell you that because I don't want to bum you out, but like, if you're waiting to feel finished, you're like, whew, okay, nothing else to do. It's not going to happen, my friends. That state doesn't exist as far as I know. There is always something more that you could do. So my suggestion is that we make peace with the fact that we are not machines, and that the reason our art has life in it is in fact because we're not machines and because we lean far into our humanity. So let's lean into our humanity and find some way to make doing these tasks feel better. And the first step to it feeling better is, I think, to make peace with the fact that inbox zero is a fallacy. Don't try to do it. Just do the best you can within the time frame that's sustainable and healthy for you, and then move on with your life and come back on your next office day, which leads me to the tips and tricks that I did promise you. Top of the list, office hours. If you don't have office hours, or you've been meaning to, or you thought about it, or they're just sort of floating in your head, stop theorizing and just experiment. You don't have to pick the perfect window. You get to change your mind whenever you want. Let's just say twice a week, you have 2 hours set aside. So that's 4 hours a week to do admin in. For some people, that'll be too much. For most people, it won't be enough. It doesn't matter. Just try it. And rather than just carrying it around in your head, put it in your email signature. So people are not going to be expecting to hear back from you unless it's in that time frame. Now, the beauty of office hours is that you do have to sort of channel the office worker when you have office hours. And when office hours are done, you turn off your notifications, you close down your computer, you don't answer emails anymore, you don't check any kind of messages that are related to your administrative tasks. It does take discipline because we are used to, like, I don't have to explain common life and with technology to you, you're all existing in it. So yeah, it does take discipline, but oh my God, it is so good. It's so good. If you feel like you need an hour every day, carve out an hour every day. Set that time, and if someone tries to schedule something with you, you're like, no, I can't. Those are my office hours. That's when I do my admin. Maybe you just need, you like working in big chunks and you want 1 4-hour chunk a week. Sure. Whatever, just try it. And within the office hours that you do keep, do your best. Get done what it takes as long as it takes, it really does. So at the end of the time, close your computer, move on with your life. You'll come back the next day or whenever your next hours are scheduled. This is a sneaky psychology trick, because if you are always available, not to speak to, but like if you let yourself check that inbox after hours on Saturday morning, guess what? Your attention has already been given away. And attention is magic. So it's not the answering of the emails that we're trying to avoid outside of office hours. It's seeing them in the first place. Because if you see them, we've already lost. The attention has already been stolen. Your attention is a mega superpower, and it's really easy to just give it away. I mean, there's billion-dollar industries built on your attention. So be a little more selfish with it, is my first advice. Using office hours. Another fun little thing that you can do is called the Eisenhower matrix. It's not something that I personally have used a ton, but I know some people it's been really, really helpful for. So I wanted to share that with you. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. You basically draw 4 quadrants on a piece of paper, and you know what? Let me pull this up so I don't tell you wrong. Okay, I've got it in front of me, so I'm not going to lead you wrong now. So in those 4 quadrants, you put in the upper left-hand quadrant things that are both important and urgent. Upper right-hand quadrant, important but not as urgent. Bottom left, things that are urgent but not that important. Bottom right, things that are neither I'm keeping all this in. Yay, humanity. Things that are neither urgent or important. This is going to make a lot more sense when you pull it up. Just listening to me yak about it is probably kind of difficult. But the idea is the upper left quadrant are the things that you should actually be doing that day. The upper right, things that you can schedule for your next office hours. Bottom left, things that can be delegated to someone else to do. And on the bottom right, things you should not be wasting your time with. Because if it's neither urgent nor important, what are we doing? What are we doing? And there's one more little tippy trick that I want to share with you. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. It's called the Pomodoro Method, and it is working for 20 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. And then you work for 20 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. And then you work for 20 minutes and then you take a 10-minute break. And you can obviously play with that formula. And in fact, now that I've pulled it up so that I'm staring at it, it seems like they suggest 25 minutes. But you know what? I prefer 20. I really do. There's a cute little timer. It's free. It's online. I will put a link to that in the show notes. You just start the timer and it reminds you when your time is up. Easy peasy. And this is really helpful, particularly if we're doing a task that we dread, because even something that you really don't like doing, you can do for 20 minutes. But sitting down to be like, and now I will do this dreadful task for 2.5 hours. Oh, look at that. I think I need to go clean out my fingernails. Funny how that works. But if you sit down and you're like 20 minutes, you can do it. And it just, it works with the brain instead of against it. And do you remember what I said earlier? It takes as long as it takes. That is true. However, there is also Parkinson's law. Have y'all heard of Parkinson's law? Parkinson's law states that work will expand to fill the time available for its completion. Now, this can really turn around and bite us in the ass, because if we sit down with a 2-hour window and we're like, I've got 2 hours, you start writing an email, suddenly it's been 1 hour and 15 minutes and you haven't even sent it yet because you just keep editing it. That's Parkinson's law at work. I was going to say guilty. I'm not guilty. I'm just doing work. Language matters. But the Pomodoro Method is really helpful for sort of cutting through Parkinson's law, because you only gave it 20 minutes or 25 or whatever. So you might actually finish in that time. So both of these things are true. They seem counterintuitive, but they are both true at the same time. Things take as long as they take, and also work will expand to fill the time available for its completion. Knowing that, we can play with our psychology and how we're parsing out our time in a way that's humane and sustainable, so that we can actually get our work done and not feel like shit. Parkinson's law, it sounds mean, but it's really not. It just means give it an allotment of time. Don't let it stretch on into infinity, because then it will indeed take infinity. So use Parkinson's law to work for you. Pomodoro Method can be very helpful. The Eisenhower matrix can be very helpful. But by and large, the most helpful thing to divorce that sense of like dread and, that oppressive sense of like, this is never going to be done, there's always more to do, is just to make peace with the fact that you're not supposed to do all of the things. It's not in the nature of the modern working artist to be like, and now there's nothing more to do. Or rather, not the nature of the artist, but the nature of the beast of being a modern working artist. I actually want to add one more thing here, besides these lovely little tips and tricks. Very important. Use your friends. Reach out. If you know someone who's done an application, can you read my application? Would you mind looking over my bio? Do you have any advice? Use the expertise of your friends. We are not supposed to do this alone. Julie, thank you so much for that question and being so sweet about it. And being like, I know it's slow work, June. But I was like, no, I would love a suggestion, please, and thank you. So thank you so much for sending me that voice note. If you have requests for future episodes, you can reach me always on Instagram at Rachel Strickland Creative or on Patreon at Rachel Strickland Creative. Little reminder that the Irish Aerial Dance Festival is just a few weeks away. I will be there. Come and play. I'll put a link in the show notes. And as well, I really, really hope that you will join me for Somatic Witchcraft so that I can tell you this tool that I stumbled over. I'm like, holy shit, this is the answer. This is the thing that works, other than, arguing with yourself over and over. So please join me if that is of interest to you. I'll put it in the show notes. Thank you so much. Closing ceremonies. This podcast is powered by Patreon. So much love and gratitude and appreciation to my supportive patrons for making this podcast, and indeed me, possible. This could not exist without you. Until next time, my friends, go forth and conquer your office hours, and then move on with your life and go do something else. And don't go back to sleep.